Relationships are the heart of our human experience. Open up to that partner that really loves and supports us on a deep level. It's that intimate relationship that we all yearn for, that could really be that one person we could be fully naked with, fully vulnerable with, fully open with. So relationships have an impact, a profound impact on our well-being. If you're in a supportive, beautiful relationship, nothing can hold you back. Super excited to have you guys here. Today we are again diving into all things manifestation. Specifically, we're talking about manifesting relationships, attracting love, connections, and support into your life. And such an incredible topic, because I believe that loneliness is probably one of the biggest epidemics of our time now. I think prior to COVID, people were already starting to feel disconnected, and then COVID happened, and then people were forced into isolation. And I think it's gotten really tough for people to reconnect and open themselves up to relationships, open themselves up to new people, new experiences, even taking risks and getting out there and connecting with people in a deep way. Relationships are the heart of our human experience. And today we're going to explore how you can consciously manifest the connections you desire in your life. And this can be a romantic relationship. This could be friendships. This could be groups of like-minded individuals. Those of us that are on this journey of becoming bigger, better versions of ourselves are constantly growing, constantly evolving. And what you'll find is that your circles also have to evolve with you, because some of our, not to put anyone down, but some of our friends, maybe even our family, maybe even our close family members, have a mindset that doesn't support what we want to build in our life. It doesn't support that open, positive thinking, that possibility thinking, the thinking of, that we can change, that we can become better, that we can be happy. Most people out there will give you practical reasons why you shouldn't dream so big, and why the world is just going to, down a ditch, and why there's problems everywhere. And if you want to continue to grow, you have to surround yourself people who can match that energy. I'm not a big believer in throwing away the old relationships, but I am a believer in connecting with new, more empowering relationships. And so that's really what we want to do, is open up to that partner that really loves and supports us on a deep level. It's that intimate relationship that we all yearn for, that could really be that one person we could be fully naked with, fully vulnerable with, fully open with. And when you can be open and so vulnerable with a person, you could, expand the possibilities of your life and share and grow in a much bigger way. And also develop the family and the friendships that really support you. So things I want to share with you about possibilities of relationships. When you really look at how do you manifest relationships, I know people who have been in their 80s who have gotten into romantic relationships, have gotten married. I had a client in her mid 40s, never been married. And within a year of working together with her, she found the love of her life, her soulmate, and got married. Another woman was in her 60s and was always yearning for that real deep connection and love. And we went through all the steps that I'm going to share with you today. And she found the love of her life, even down to the details of what we had written down. Well, not we. I shared in her experience, but what she had written down in her vision, she had experienced. Some of the details that were so random. She was able to create that in her 60s. And so it's never too late, and it's absolutely possible for all of us. So we're going to deep dive into the principles of manifestation and how they relate to attracting love, how they relate to building connections and finding the support you need in your life. So relationships have an impact, a profound impact on our well-being. If you're in a supportive, beautiful relationship, nothing can hold you back. If you're in a relationship that doesn't support you, that is abusive or negative in nature, there's only so far you can go in life. So we really want to turn that around. And by the end of today, I'm hoping that you'll have some real places to go to manifest meaningful and fulfilling relationships, real tools that you can explore. And obviously, you know, my door is always open if you'd like to work with me and explore more with me. Please send me a DM and we can always explore your relationship status, what you want to create, and let's make some magic happen. So we're going to talk about 5 core concepts. Thank you again for all of you being here. We're going to talk about the power of self-love, being in vibrational alignment with what you want, what you desire, visualization, and then releasing resistance to what we don't want, which tends to attract more of what we don't want. So manifestation. You're here every week. And of course, you know, we talk about all things manifestation, but what is manifestation? Manifestation is the process of consciously creating your reality through your thoughts, through your emotions, through your beliefs, and your deliberate intentions. It's about realizing that you have the power to shape your life experience in all areas of your life, and that includes relationships. So the thoughts and emotions that you radiate are like energetic signals that the universe receives and will respond to it in kind. So when it comes to relationships, the energy that you emit, that you send out, plays a crucial role in attracting the people and connections that align with your desire. Now, that's consciously or unconsciously. Now, a lot of us have unconscious programming, meaning we emit signals that are just the same as perhaps our parents have emitted. Why? Because we were raised in that household. So we attract people that are similar to that type of dynamics in our upbringing or around us, the people that were close to us. Or if we're resistant to it, then we attract kind of the complete opposite, but we're still fighting that energy. So when we look at manifesting meaningful relationships, we're going to start with one core concept, and that's self-love and self-acceptance. One caveat, I'm always throwing out caveats, and here's why. I'm going to throw out a caveat about my caveat. It's not a dual world. It's not a one or the other. It's really a paradox, meaning there's always good in the bad and there's always bad in the good. There's always, we have to look at the nuances of everything that we are learning. Oftentimes when concepts don't work for us, it's because we're so stuck on making that one concept work. So we're going to talk about self-love and self-acceptance, but what I want to share is that you don't have to be perfect and love yourself perfectly before you get into a relationship, because that's part of our growing. That's part of our expanding. That's part of us becoming more of who we are. We're constantly, there's always a next level of self-love. There's always a next level of acceptance of ourself. That's part of our growth. And when we're in a relationship and we have someone that can mirror back to us our divine nature, our beauty, our love, our radiance, then we get to feel more of that. So I believe that you develop it when you have a chance, when you're single, and then you also continue to work on it when you're in a relationship. So self-love is foundational because as we're building healthy relationships, there has to be a sense of recognizing our own worth, about embracing our flaws and not even looking at it as our flaws, looking at it as, this is part of something that is underdeveloped in me that I want to develop. And being gentle with ourselves. I had a client where we were learning this concept and she jokingly sang that Britney Spears song, "Oops, I did it again." Don't make me sing. So sorry for singing. But it's that sense of, okay, I screwed up. I made a mistake. And it's embracing that part of us. And when we're not resistant to us, and we're less likely to make the same mistake again. It's when we try to fight it or deny it, or we shame ourselves, then we start to continue to repeat those negative patterns in ourselves. So it's embracing our self-worth. It's embracing all of us, and understanding that I'm still a work in progress. I get to live this beautiful thing called life, where I get to continue to grow and become more and more radiant and beautiful and vibrant and alive and all those wonderful qualities. And it's treating ourselves with that same kindness and compassion that you would treat other people. You don't look at a child and say, oh, you're just, you're horrible because you spilled milk. It's like, oops, okay, let's clean it up. You're fine. You're okay. We can fix this together. How incredible is that, right? So to give yourself that same level of gentleness and kindness and compassion, we have to be willing to do that, because when we, again, it's loving ourselves will also, this is a whole other rabbit hole that I'm not going to go quite into, but loving ourselves will also allow us to say no to those people or those things that don't work for us. It's when we don't have a real clear sense of self-worth and self-love that we allow people to walk over us, and we allow people to cross our boundaries, which doesn't serve the relationship, doesn't serve us, it doesn't serve the person, it doesn't serve our relationships in the long run. So self-love and self-acceptance, self-worth. Number 2 is vibrational alignment and attraction. So, we've all heard the term, the law of attraction. That's actually a secondary law to the law of vibration. Whatever frequency you vibrate at will be the frequency with which that thing will be attracted back to you. Your emotions and thoughts as energy waves emit a unique frequency. Kind of like a cell phone. There's a frequency. When I dial a certain number, there's a frequency that hones in on that gets to one specific number. Same thing. My thoughts and my energy, my emotions will emit a specific frequency. And when your thoughts and emotions are positive, harmonious, and they're aligned with your desires, your vibrational frequency rises. And that higher vibrational frequency will act as a magnet and draw in people and experiences that resonate with your positive energy. That will be key in manifesting the kind of relationship you desire. So when we're at a low frequency, then we're going to attract energy that matches that low frequency. So it's really important to notice, what are you emitting? Are you emitting things like all men are cheaters, or all women are gold diggers, or all, it's all these stereotypical words that we throw out. I'm going to get hurt if I get into a relationship. Whatever it is. Now, we also emit frequencies based on our patterns, right? Why is it that someone who perhaps was raised in an abusive household will continue attracting someone who's abusive? Because they're radiating at that frequency. That's what they're used to. That's what their emotions or their thoughts are filled with. And so someone who is abusive will hone in on that energy, which is why self-love and working on shifting that experience into what we want will be key in attracting something that is healthy and positive. So working on ourselves is going to be key in building those positive relationships that we desire. So noticing your frequency. The next one is visualization and affirmations. One powerful way to shape your thoughts and emotions for manifestation is through the power of visualizing what you want and affirming what you want, because those, thoughts, the words turn into thoughts. Thoughts turn into emotions. Emotions turn into actions. Actions create results. And so we start at the level of thoughts. Now, visualization, we think in pictures. So it's, what type of experience do you want? How do you want to be interacting with your partner? What type of friendships do you want? Can you see yourself laughing and enjoying yourself? Or do all you see are, the negative aspects of a relationship? So what are you focusing on? What are you visualizing? What are you affirming? And the reason that's important is because unless you're experiencing it now with your senses, if it's something you want to create, you have to experience it in your mind. Everything is created first in the mind before it's created out in the world. So visualization and affirmations allows you to create it first in the internal world, which will start to draw you to that external manifestation of that image, of that picture. So visualization is mentally creating the experiences you want. It's vividly, imagining the details. It's seeing, it's hearing, it's smelling, it's tasting, it's experiencing all your senses with that experience that you want, as if it's already happening. As if it's already happening, to reinforce those beliefs, reinforce those intentions. And when you start visualizing yourself giggling, or tickling your partner, whatever it is your picture is, it can't help but bring in those positive emotions. And again, we already know that positive vibration, the positive emotions, that positive frequency will attract the positive relationships that we want. So oftentimes people are grumpy or depressed or anxious because they're focusing on what they don't want. So when you close your eyes, what are you focusing on? Let's focus on what we want. Bring in more of what we want. The next one is releasing resistance and letting go. Letting go. This is a big one for a lot of people because, again, we are designed to look out in the world and look for things that are possible dangers. We're designed to to make ourselves safe. And so in order to be safe, I've got to look at all the possible dangers and try to avoid it. So what happens is now I start to go through life more in fear, right? There's a saber-toothed tiger out there. I've got to, react to every rustling of the bushes. And so letting go of that primal part of our brain and releasing that resistance, letting go of the obstacles that might be blocking what it is we want, letting go of the how, letting go of the specifics of what we want. I want to separate a little bit the two. I wanted to, kind of go through this quickly, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into it. Resistance is putting out the fear of what I don't want. I don't want someone who's going to cheat on me, right? I'm resistant to that. And as soon as I get one little, instance or I see someone that I might be really falling for, but I'm afraid that he's going to cheat on me, I'm going to push him away. So I'm either going to push him away into cheating on me, or I'm going to push a good person away. And so we got to let go of that resistance, since we're just going to attract that same energy over and over again. And then letting go of the need to control, letting go of forcing, letting go of making things happen or making things fit. It's forcing that, square peg in a round hole, because this one has to work, because if it doesn't, then all hell will break loose for me. So all of those things are going to block the flow of positive relationships into your life. So we have to let go of the obstruction that we've put up. That includes the walls. Some of us have been hurt over and over again. We have these fabulous walls that protect us, that keep us safe. But guess what? It doesn't let people hurt us, but it also doesn't let people in. So being willing to cautiously open up, let people in, which also means we're not throwing out all of who we are right off the bat to make people like us, and then being surprised when they are not who we thought they were. So it's really being about being true to yourself, being honest with yourself, allowing people to come in without that wall, but feel that we are protected, because I know how to take care of myself. I trust my intuition. I know how to set boundaries. I know how to say no. I know how to say goodbye to someone, even though I've fallen for them, just because I know they're not good for me. And so all of those things goes back to trusting ourselves, believing in ourselves, not betraying ourselves, and making that priority, making that more important than the need to have someone there for the short term, so that I don't have to feel alone. So all of that will help us to let go and release resistance, because we're starting to trust ourselves more than we put trust in people that aren't really, haven't earned that in our life yet. So we want to let go of that. Just like clutter, right? Clutter is going to obstruct. If I clutter all over my home, it's going to obstruct the flow of traffic in my home. I'm not going to be able to walk straight through my home. Unresolved issues in our life creates clutter. Past hurts, limiting beliefs, all of those block that flow. And so we want to clear those obstacles, do the healing, do the self-healing, do the self-work. One thing that I've been proud of myself for is after every breakup, I've given myself plenty of time to heal from the relationship. However insignificant the relationship is, I've always pulled back. And I've always said, let me do the healing, let me do the learning, let me look at, what did I miss? How did I betray myself before I got into the next one? And I think that has really served me in my life. And so I highly suggest, it's so important to do that inner work so that you show up as a more loving, bright person in that next relationship. You don't show up with all that baggage, from the past. So I want to kind of open up to any questions, any comments about opening up to relationships, about creating relationships, anything around that.
I guess for me, it would be kind of how do you do that in an existing relationship, or advice around that?
Yeah. Oh, such a great question. It really goes along the same step. It's work on self-love, work on that self-worth, focus on yourself, reconnect with yourself. I'm a big, I happen to do this quite often in relationships. I tend to lose myself in relationships. And I would say most women, especially ones who are loving and empathetic, lose themselves in relationships. And so taking a step back and making it a commitment to yourself to spend time with yourself, doing those things you love, nurturing yourself, self-care, self-love, connecting with who you are, independent of other people. So that's number one. And then number two is create a vision for your relationship. What is it that you would love? Because even in an existing relationship, you can write down those qualities that you want. Now, we don't force it on that person. The only time I would is if you were already married, because you made a covenant to that person, you made a commitment to that person. So you are in it together to grow together. But until you are married, and in that covenant, I would say create that vision of what you want without the person's name, so to speak, without the person, without making it have to be this specific person. If you are in a relationship, you're in a covenant and you are committed, and especially if you have children, then you want to include that person. Not that you're changing that person, but you're writing a vision for how you experience life together. You are having fun. You support each other. Again, whatever your picture, your image of what that life would be like with that person, that ideal life, how you treat each other, how you interact with each other. So you can write the vision in or outside of the marriage, and then start to do your own healing. Because as much as we like to blame other people, and oftentimes people do things to us, there's some bad people in the world, it really is us that is ultimately responsible for anything in the relationship. So it is doing our healing, looking at how, what attracted that person to me, what was attractive about me to them, what patterns am I playing over and over again, what skills within me, what qualities within me need to develop, where do I need to, where have I lost my boundaries, where have I have unhealed abandonment issues or trauma, or whatever emotions that are coming up for us. And we've all had trauma, and doesn't mean the big kind of trauma that we hear often, but there is always going to be trauma in us. So healing that trauma in us, so that though that's no longer driving that vehicle. So continuing to do the healing. And what I'll tell you is, when you do that, things become really obvious. number one, you become stronger. So you stop betraying yourself, and you are stronger in your ability to make requests in a way that gives that person, freedom to either step up and grow with you, or to go a different direction. Or you may be strong enough to say goodbye in a dysfunctional relationship. So you can absolutely co-create a relationship. And I truly believe that we are in relationships to grow together. And so the person that's in front of you is perfect for where you're at right now. There's something you need to learn. There's something that within you that needs to grow. And like I said, unless you're unless you're married, you have the option to go get to a certain point where you decide we've grown as much as we can, and we can no longer grow any further. And at this point, we need to, say our goodbyes. And at that point, it's not going to, it will still be hard and painful, but it will be almost the no-brainer answer for yourself, because you have so much self-worth and self-love. It's like, no, this isn't going to work for me. And of course, let me just do a caveat. I keep saying in a marriage, obviously, if there's abuse, infidelity, some of the higher crimes, we'll call it crimes, then I'm a big believer in, you've got to take care of you. But you can absolutely transform your existing relationship, but it comes from you. And women in particular have extreme power in a relationship, because they can, number one, they grow faster. Sorry, men, we love you. And you're so focused on the external world, which we need you to be, that let us do our internal work. And we raise our vibration and our frequency a lot faster than men. And so when we change, the people around us will change. So focusing on you rather than what most people do, and I've been guilty of this, I've let the men in my life draw me down versus holding who I am and raising my vibration and then lifting them up, allowing them to come up. Not that we change anyone, but allowing them to come up. And we have a lot of power. Our boundaries, men, we have the power to say no. And it's extremely powerful when a woman says no. So when we draw that line, a man can't help but respect us. And in essence, he can't go further with us until he does something. We lose our power when we whine and we complain and we get emotional. And so setting those boundaries is very powerful. And that can shift things also a lot faster. Is that helpful? I know that was a mouthful.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Sure. Everything requires both intention and action. It's that internal work, setting intention, deciding what we want, doing the healing, and action. And I also want to say something, about gratitude and appreciation. When you express gratitude and appreciation for the relationships you have, you attract more of that same positive energy in your life. It's like, again, sending that signal to the universe that you're open and receptive to love and connection. And again, women have this incredible innate power to raise the vibration and the frequency of people around them. And we can do that through our gratitude and appreciation. One of men's needs, women, our job in a relationship is to accept, acknowledge, and appreciate the men in our life. And so when we appreciate what they do, it's like whatever you appreciate. So focusing on what they do well, what they do right, helps a man continue to do more of that. And we can train. I hate the word train our men, but we could really, they want to please you. So acknowledging and appreciating what they do for us really helps them build up their sense of success, and they feel like they can win with you and they want to make you happy. So thank you. Any other questions, comments? Melanie says self-love transformed her marriage. Absolutely. And and I'll tell you, one thing is that when you respect yourself as a woman, people can't help but respect you. It has to start from you. Nobody wants to be around a woman who who is such a martyr and who doesn't have respect for herself, even if she's loving and giving to everyone else, it's hard to respect her. And so a woman with self-respect who's also kind and gentle can move mountains. Knowing my worth was a game changer for me. This is Melanie. Thank you for sharing. When I pulled back all the energy I was giving to those who really didn't deserve it and use that energy to nurture and love myself, all of my relationships changed for the better. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, yes. So the focus really has to be on us. The focus has to be on us. You know, one thing I'll share how important it is as women. And sorry, men, join our conversation so we could talk to you as well. But since there's women here, I'm going to talk to women. One thing that's I was just interviewed this weekend about stress, women and stress. And one thing that I didn't share that I wanted to, but we just kind of went on so many other tangents. So I'll share here is a woman is supposed to be just show up and be taken care of and loving and nurturing. And so we need to be vigilant about taking care of ourselves. And there was an experiment done where they capped men, women, and children in a household. And what they noticed is when a man, and it was kind of one of those caps where it measures brain waves and stress levels and all that stuff. What they noticed is when a man was stressed, you know, they can see that through the microbes or through the whatever their computer screen. When a man was stressed, it had no effect on the children. But when the woman was stressed, there was an equal stress in the children. So women, we got to take care of ourselves, even just for the sake of our children. So you cannot afford to be under duress. You've got to take care of yourself, number one. You cannot take care of other people unless you take care of yourself. It's that oxygen mask, the women first. Women first. And then you could take care of everyone else. So it's fill your own tank. Fill your own tank. And then you can just be open and be so beautiful and loving. You know, another analogy I heard is kind of like a clamshell, right? The masculine energy is like that hard clamshell that protects the part of the inside of the clam that will eventually, because it's protected, turns into a beautiful pearl. It cannot turn into a pearl unless it's got that shell. So the masculine energy is that hard shell. The feminine energy is growing into something beautiful. So if that masculine shell isn't working, and again, this is the masculine within us, right? It's the masculine within us. It's protecting ourselves. It's protecting ourselves so that we can grow into these loving creatures and give something beautiful to the world. That's the gift of the feminine. So any other questions or comments? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening on the replay, thank you so much for being here. I love sharing about all things manifestation. Please comment. Let us know again that you are here, that you are listening. Let us know what you would like to hear more of. This gets me excited. You know, we talk about doing what you love, being passionate. I love sharing things that I am learning and things that are working for me and for my clients. And so if you'd like me to continue to do this, please, please, please let me know. This is valuable. And if you're interested in opening up to the relationship of your dreams, or developing those relationships you desire, please reach out and let's talk about how we can work together. So lots of love. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.